Parliament, Osahin Alexander Afenyo Marking, the Honourable, as the New Patriotic Party prepares for that crucial presidential primary this Saturday. Tensions within the party are becoming increasingly public, while in Parliament, the minority is taking firm positions on key national issues, from legislation and judicial relations to electoral disputes. So we're sitting down actually with the minority leader. We'll get perspectives on the state of the MPPs, their work in Parliament, and the broader implications for Ghana's democracy. Before we get right into that conversation, I know that we're digital, so we're live on Facebook at GTV Ghana, DSTV channel 278 everywhere in the world. Let's take a look at some of the achievements of Ghana's minority in Parliament so far since the beginning of the 9th Parliament.
Our job as minorities is to support government when it comes to certain key policies for the governance of the country.
Transparency is at stake, accountability is at stake, participation by relevant key stakeholders at stake. What exactly make ends meet? Even with their so-called single-digit inflation.
Where is the woman's bank? Where is the woman's bank? And I kill and
of government.
We join the House to reject the nominee. Thank you.
One year in opposition is not a season of silence. It is a season of scrutiny, responsibility, and resolve. In Ghana's parliament, the Minority Caucus has spent the past year doing what democracy demands, asking hard questions, defending the public interest, and holding the government of the day to account. This documentary reflects that journey, from the floor of parliament to committee rooms, from national debates to sector-by-sector oversight. This is the Minority Caucus at work.
You know, my position is a bit unique, serving as second deputy speaker in a parliament that is dominated by a majority. My role is supposed to superintend the House in such a way that I should show my uniqueness in terms of balancing the situation by way of neutrality, fairness, diligence.
Was to cut through, to stay focused, and demonstrate resilience and become formidable against an overwhelming majority. It was quite disappointing at the polls, but I was determined that together with my colleagues, we'll make an impact, scrutinize every single government policy that comes to the House floor. The silence of the opposition would amount to any attempt at subtly silencing us. We will not be mute. We will deliver on the mandate and ensure that government is held to account.
Leadership in opposition is about coordination, clarity, and courage. It is about setting direction while remaining anchored to facts and the Constitution. Over the past year, the leadership of the Minority Caucus has guided strategy on legislation, budget scrutiny, and national accountability.
It is not just a matter of what you are providing. It's a matter of the implementation.
Indonesia has set the example, China has set the example, and there's a lot we can do with this lithium.
You have realized that you didn't do anything concerning your policies. Nothing.
Education Minister, this is very bad, and I think you still have an opportunity on the second reading to withdraw this.
We in the minority have remained relevant, holding the government to account, pointing out inaccuracies, and consistently raising matters of public concern.
In our time, it was more of a structured business, and therefore you could plan yourself. Now it is not structured. They try to take it by surprise. But women have been struggling to get their numbers as compared to ours.
We are few, but we are mighty. We are 87 of us, and these 87 have a lot of fire in their belly. The kind of cooperation that we have together, the kind of work that we are doing together, this is a very well composed minority.
I've always said that we are mighty.
We introduce what we call a pre-laying sitting or procedure, which is not founded in the Constitution, because when a subsidiary legislation is laid, the minister or the sponsoring agency or whoever is leading the rule or regulation comes to Parliament and is allowed to bow and read, the 21 sitting days kicks in. And to annul that, you need 2/3 of members of Parliament. And sometimes it comes with a lot of sitting. Where we...
The ninth Parliament will never win the vote, but we can win the argument. Parliamentary oversight in the conduct of the foreign policy of our country is absolutely important. And therefore, you recall the agreement between Ghana and the United States vis-a-vis the deportation of immigrants to our country, Ghana's position on many issues such as the Israeli conflict, very engaged at the Committee on Foreign Affairs. And that, I believe, over the past year has been spectacular.
Gender responsive mantle reveals...
There was a period last year when the Bank of Ghana dismissed some 100 young people who were employees. The minority caucus saw that it was unjust and raised the issue through a press conference. As the deputy ranking, the government reversed their decision and the young people who were dismissed had their dismissal reversed.
Yeah, so if today you see a very strong economic position of government in terms of all the revenue initiatives that the government brought, it is a result of the concrete critique and additions that we had to make at the finance committee level to improve policy direction of government. If you take even the laws, the passage of certain legislations like the Bank of Ghana Act amongst others, a lot of revisions have happened in those acts as a result of the contribution and commentary we ran on the floor of the House. So I think the minority caucus have been very strong in holding government accountable and to espouse transparency in the way things are done.
Through the efforts of the minority on the committee trade, government has listened to us, and so government has now come out with a policy to restrict exportation of raw rubber, which is good for us. So it's going to help actors in the industry to be able to get enough raw material to process. We in the minority, in the to help those in the SMEs grow.
Mr. Speaker, the biggest challenge for the sports sector is funding.
Today, as we speak, the amount of money that has been released to the NEIP to be able to, as it were, conduct or make sure that the Jumeirah project sees the light of day. Not up to 1/3 of that money has been released. And if you want to do a simple calculation as to how much each person is going to get, it is woefully inadequate.
We are going by the dictates of the very provisions of that act, and it has helped us in looking at the structural arrangement of the various state-owned enterprises. And it gives us even the framework for us to be able to measure the various state-owned enterprises.
Mr. Speaker, at the outset, I think it is important to reiterate the point that this side of the House is not against the construction of an Accra-Kumasi expressway.
You could see that there has been a complete departure from where the NPP government, the policies that the NPP government initiated. This government came, and if you look at investment is sending it to the rail sector, you can see that the government is not even interested when it comes to our railway development in this country.
If you remember, the government was making a lot of noise that we have a lot of food production. In fact, they were glad of food, maize, cassava, rice, tomato, onion, and things like that. But in natural fact, the production we're seeing on the market was not most of them were not from our farmers. They were as a result of excessive importation. Last year, the import bill, the food import bill alone, was in excess of 3 billion. I'm not saying that the farmers didn't do well. They did well. The weather was good. We had some production. But the bulk of the food we're seeing on the market was as a result of food importation. The government allocated only 2.9 billion to the agricultural sector, such an important sector, but only 2.9. And it will surprise you that at the end of the third quarter of last year, only 16% of this money had been released. They promised to buy fertilizer, they didn't buy any. They promised to buy certified seeds, they couldn't buy any. They promised to buy insecticides for farmers, they didn't buy any. They had to rely on what the previous government left behind.
Parliamentary work is not like litigation in our courtroom. It's not about who wins, it's about who loses. It's more of consensus building, highlighting situations to rally people around. If for nothing, some of the milestones we've chalked, Ghanaians have seen from what we have done in Parliament. When you look at the lithium agreement, for instance, we highlighted how deficient it was in terms of what was being given Ghana. It was highly, highly disproportionate.
After the primaries, we need each other to build or start discipline ourselves and ensure that we always remember that if you are doing anything or engaging in anything that will cause us in the future, you should know that it will not help.
Should stay united, and I think that if we do, the sky will be the limit.
I just want to encourage my colleagues that they have done a very good work. We are very happy the kind of debate they put in. Anytime we are debating the budget, we are debating the State of the Nation address, we are debating motions on the floor of Parliament, they show quality.
I believe that beyond 31st January 2026, the MPP has to prevail. The MPP must prevail.
I'm very inspired by the J.H. Mensah-led minority in the second parliament of our country. J.H. Mensah, in 19, loud and clear, and that is the same posture I have adopted from day one, that we would not allow our numbers to deter us, but the substance we bring on board is what would inspire us to deliver on our mandates. So, my dear colleagues, let's do as Parliament resumes. The new flag bearer that will be elected, we all rally behind that flag bearer, work with him, and deliver for the party. The people out there, our party full soldiers, look up to us as the only formidable group within the party to help deliver victory. If we fail in that, we would have failed a nation. Let's work together and be.
And that was a documentary well put together by the Minority Caucus in this that they contribute to. And we're in studio now to speak live with the MP for Efutu, the good people of Efutu, who is the minority leader in Ghana's parliament. So you've heard the talks about the J.H. Mensahs and the Osechi Mensah Bonsu, the pressure ones, the passionate and principled ones. And the Honorable Alexander Afenyo-Markin, love him or loathe him, you would agree with how he speaks and his movements and the fact that he moves the youth. Honorable, good morning, welcome back to the table. You've been here before, so welcome back home.
Thank you for having me, and however belated, let me say Happy New Year.
Absolutely.
To all of you. You are doing a great work. GTV is competing fairly, and I watch your programs, and all those who are behind the scenes and those of you up here on the set, I think you're doing a great job for Mother Ghana. And for
we're grateful. And that was a beautiful documentary. Would you want to say a few words about
that? Yes,
I
mean, occupy our minds as a caucus. One, demonstrates resilience, strength, and be formidable, which I believe so far we've done. And then second, to stay united and rally behind the flag bearer who will be chosen by the party on Saturday.
Right.
We started off very rough. We went into an election with high expectations and high hopes. And we came with that 88 and it reduced to 87. My determination has always been to lead a charge and charge through the storm. I'm fully guided and inspired by the late J.H. Mensah with the 1997 squad. In fact, MPP boycotted the 92 elections, so we're not part of the first parliament. Then in the second parliament, we had 61 seats. It was a 200-seat parliament, so we had 61, NDC had 33, and CPP, PNC, and some independents, they were 6.
Okay.
But of course, we were 61. And we all know that that 61 minority showed greatness and gave promise. And through that, the flag bearer, J. Kufuor, rallied around them, and they delivered 2,000 election victory for the party, and we had 8 years in office. Well, turbulence in any political party is, to me, very normal.
Were you prepared for it when the leadership was thrust to you?
Okay. Well, I started off as a deputy majority leader, and I was appointed a majority leader. So at least there was a smooth transition.
Okay.
You know, but the question of whether or not I had ever thought that I would become the leader of the party, that I would say MPP is a party of competition and a lot of talent. So you cannot just get up and think that I want this and I have to get there. You can only pray to God that if it is His will, you get opportunity. But that notwithstanding, you need to work hard.
Right.
It's a party of competition. I realize that even in these primaries, people are wondering why this is internal matter. But in all right-wing parties, you know, one of the values of the right-wing ideology is competition. That it's a merit-based party, show industry, show class, show strength. So if you look at the American Republicans, look at their history. Their internal elections, they go through turbulent moments. The Tories in the UK, other right-wing parties in Europe, they go through difficult times. I mean, to select a leader, it doesn't come easy. But the underlying principle is that once a leader is chosen, all must rally behind, around the leader and follow through. And I think that should be the focus.
Right.
Of course, I'm concerned about some of the excesses. You know, sometimes the turbulence may get you to be a bit personal. You know, a test of your emotional intelligence, a test of how much you can take and all that. And especially coming from our foot soldiers, you know, some of the words that sometimes are used when there are internal competition, they can be quite worrying, you know. But it's still work in progress. We still have to have certain pillars, structures in the party to always guide such process.
And the team you work with, you know, first...
Say largely, our success has been collective. You know, in Parliament, you cannot do it all by yourself. You can't say that you are the minority leader and that you have it all. No. It takes the collective views of people. The caucus, you have your deputy leader, you have the chief whip. The chief whip is really the man behind the caucus. The chief whip is a backbone. He is like the organizer.
Okay.
He is also like your intelligence officer. As for you, the leader, it is like you're there. But the Bushapeni is your chief whip. And then with his 2 deputies, they would have to, go round, sniff, find out if there is danger, if all your members are there, when to move. Because if I want to take a decision, I need my chief whip to give me the go-ahead. All right? So there are these restraining pillars that are quite conventional. That the backbench, you have to listen to them. And you realize that there's even an enactment. We've enacted on the backbench, even in our rules book, where there is a day for backbench and all that. So if you are in leadership, the 5 of us, we must have an ear for the backbench, so that you listen to them. There are senior members of the party in parliament who may not be in leadership. You need to listen to them. They make great input into your decisions. And outside of the parliament, the parliament, the caucus is just an organ of the party. So you can't sit there and think that you are in leadership, so you take decisions. No.
On behalf of the party.
Daily, you need to consult the party hierarchy. And here I'm referring to the national executives, largely represented by the general secretary, who does an interface with the caucus. And then the council of elders. I tell you this, and I say so with a lot of pride. Our council of elders are very active. There are times that I've held consultations with elders up to like 2 a.m. Chairman Akman Owusu Ondana Wada, that old man is in his 80s. Honorable Freddie Blay, he's been there before. And and President Kufuor, I remember there was a major decision point in Parliament, and this had to do with the disputed Supreme Court Chief Justice nominee, and it was a major issue. And I told myself, God, guide me through this process, and the consultation ran all the way till like 5 a.m. At the time I was at the vetting, doing what I had to do, I had not slept the whole night.
Wow.
Because as at 3 a.m., I was now coming down from Ebri.
From the consultation.
From President Kufuor. Meanwhile, President Akufo-Addo was also waiting for me at home. And you need to hear them, get their input, so that by the time you come and sit down with your colleague leaders, you put out these views to them that this is what our elders think. And then you take the input from the committee members.
Okay.
Have your internal discussions where the disagreement will come, you build consensus. Then eventually, as a leader, you have to take a decision that, okay, guys, I've heard you. This is what we've all discussed, but this is what I think should be the approach.
And you definitely have disgruntled parties.
No, I wouldn't want to say disgruntled parties. This party is a formidable party. It has a history. Okay. You see, MPP is a party of intellectuals. All right? Okay. Look at our past. UGCC, UP, UNC, eventually 92 MPP. This party has great minds. So at any point, you, the leader, should see yourself as merely being the first among your equals. It's a peer party, a party of peers. So you must not at any point think that I have the mandate and I have authority to dictate. No. Okay. There are times that you, even in exercising your discretion, a member can boldly tell you that, look, leader, yes, but you need to consult. And that would be within the member's right. Okay? You cannot say that, well, I'm the leader. No, you can't. Okay. And I have had a privilege of talking to some senior members way back into Buzier's administration. Harry Neseku was from my area, and in my early days as a young politician, I had the benefit of his wisdom and sharing with me historical perspective of the tradition. So I've always known that in this party, you can never say you're a leader and therefore you have some unfettered discretion.
And impose
And
your will.
you
on
cannot.
people. Okay.
I sat through Nana Addo's cabinet, and I wish we could telecast this live. It was not, a walk in the park. No. Cabinet ministers in Nana Addo's cabinet, full debates. You need to be prepared before you enter that conference room. The president himself, he had to listen to people, his ministers, he would bring forward, and somebody would, raise his hand, Mr. President, I beg to disagree with you. I enjoy it. So MPP is a party that if you really want to succeed, you take away your emotions.
Okay.
You must find a way of detaching and getting so personal and take it easy and manage situations. And I think that the beauty of it is that when you listen and listen well, you enrich your own understanding of issues.
I would come to that, and on the back of that, the primaries, because you're talking about leadership and MPP being that formidable party. But I want us to talk about the press conference and the most recent one, holding government accountable for a year. I'm sure you've heard the sentiments that you hold a lot of press conferences. Is it a strategy that the party formidably has decided is one of the ways that, or the only way you would hold this government of John Mahama accountable?
Well, in opposition, you have your various tools. Once those tools are being deployed within the confines of the practices, the rules and conventions, I think it is what it is. You see, we are 87. The Speaker of Parliament is a senior and a leading member of the NDC. Sitting there, his job is to protect his party and his government. All right? You have the majority 189. Now bear in mind that any access we seek on the House floor must go through the Speaker. So if you don't use some other means to bring to the fore the issues you hold so dear to yourself, you may be found wanting. I'll give you an instance. Look, if you file a motion, Speaker must approve. If he doesn't approve the motion, you can't even take it.
Doesn't get heard at all.
At all. You file a question, the question would have to be approved. And the question must be programmed. If the minutes the government is so uncomfortable with it, there's a way. I've been a majority leader before. I know some of the strategies. And when Ayarga is deploring it, I don't really complain. I know it.
Okay.
Speaker himself has been a minority leader, majority leader before. So when he's deploring some of those skills to frustrate me, I understand. There was a day, he said, that I've been frustrating minority leader. And I took it easy. I mean, I don't get personal. There are times we seriously disagree, So sitting there, you don't expect me to wait for spoon-feeding opportunities. I have to find means of... My critics think that too many press conferences...
And demonstrations, where you even sit on the floor.
These are democratic bona fides. The thing very unique about us is that we don't go personal. We don't get personal. We raise the issues. And I think we should be giving credit for that. This NPP minority, we always focus on the issues and deal with them. We don't go attacking personalities, and all that. And you can check from the records if there is any thing about attacking personalities in government. Bring it out and let me.
So you don't intend to make the government
the issue of obstruction. The work of opposition is to scrutinize. The real oversight is done by the minority. It is not done by government. Government side, they come and do here. All right?
Okay.
So they would even be scared to openly oppose their own government. So the work is largely done by us. If you look at the period where we did the vetting, instances that we needed to take a vote, and those were on very principled grounds, all right? If you come to bills, in fact,
they are rushing the bills.
We've really helped in shaping our bills to even help government through our scrutiny. What we've been worried about is rather the unfortunate situation where government is always coming with certificate of agency. And I said to them that, look, Ghanaians are concerned about how we exercise our oversight. They feel that we rush things. So give it time. If you really want to plan to come to Parliament, give yourself a week or two. Introduce the business and allow the Bank of Ghana amendment, law. We had to actually find a way of stopping them, and draw the attention that you can't do that. Okay. The Dumso levy, they just introduced, they say, certificate of agency. And we were like, look, you've come into office. ECG need reforms. Reforms were started by Akufo-Addo government. In fact, I spent some 2 or 3 months as board chair. Yeah. And I know of the loss reduction program. Many people use electricity without paying in this country, including factories, including industries. Right. A lot of illegal connections. Many of the prepaid meters have become obsolete. No proper reading. Okay? Right. So the loss reduction program was introduced to address these things. So we were saying that, look, pursue the reform rather than burdening Ghanaians with taxes and levies. Now, ask yourself a question. They came into office and they told us that, okay, the e-levy that we introduced on. But if you look at how much revenue e-levy was bringing and how much this Dumso levy is bringing, Ghanaians are worse off. All right? Because the optics, the goodwill is still there. Ghanaians haven't really realized that it has now cost them more in their pockets under NDC than under MPP. Now, if you buy a liter of petroleum product, a petrol, diesel, you are paying 1 cedi.
On a liter.
On a liter.
Yes.
The net effect is that government is taking more money from the ordinary Ghanaian, the Okada rider, the Aboboya.
So these taxes can be said to be equal to the taxes that they said you were taking from Ghana.
More than. And then, by the way, in total, they have imposed over 27% in electricity tariffs. Over 27%.
Doesn't this go to say, support the fact that they say that the economy hasn't been doing well just before the election, and so they need to revive?
Oh, so does that mean you should impose levies? So if I was buying electricity at 10 Ghana for a day, for a week, now under MDC, I'm now buying it 12.70, 12 cedi, 70 pesos. So there's almost a 30% increase in my costs of buying electricity. You've made my disposable income is affected. You've made my situation worse off, correct? So it isn't better. But you see, sometimes when government are enjoying goodwill, that is when they decide to commit all the crimes. Quote unquote, I mean, you get it.
When the political goodwill run out, it will run out.
Indeed, that's what I'm saying. That you have done 1 year already. Already, the 24-hour economy has failed. They promised Ghanaians that each job, there will be 3 shifts. So 1 job to 3 people. That has not seen the light of day. Oh. Rather, yes.
It says happening at the port. We've had NDC politicians sit here say that the 24-hour economy is working at the port.
Okay, so they should tell us the staff strength of Ghana Port at the time they assumed office. The data is there. Okay. And now, if it has tripled, then you can say that when you came into office, the staff strength of Ghana Port and Harbours Authority was, say, 10,000. Now it is 30,000. If you say it is 30,000, what that means is that you have actually implemented the 24-hour economy. If you go to SNIT, if you go to Ghana Water, if you go to ECG, and staff strength has tripled, then you are talking about successful implementation of 1 job, 3 shifts. Now, they have failed in that. Rather, when they came, the public records will bear me out that they have rather dismissed Ghanaian workers who were already in employment. You remember the chief of staff?
Who were hurriedly employed just before the election?
Who were already in employment. Whether hurriedly or not, they were employed.
That's their defense.
No, but so, does it make sense to you? Is it prudent to say that there was an irregularity in the recruitment process? Therefore, a Ghanaian go and sit at home. Have they thought about the cost of that decision on society? By the way, those who were sacked were not only those who had been employed in the so-called hurriedly recruited category. People who had been employed way back 2017 were all sent home. 2018, we have all the letters. And that is why the minority, led by me, filed a motion to bring the chief of staff to answer for those actions. And they stampeded it by raising a preliminary objection that the matter was already before the Supreme Court.
Was clearance given? Because that's what we've heard.
But the issue is not about clearance.
If there's space to accommodate...
But these people were already in the employ of these institutions. It's not only the mainstream civil service that were affected. Even institutions that were owned, that are state-owned, commercial entities that the state had interest in, they extended it to all these. So Exim Bank, Ghana Water, ECG, GRA. If some GRA, for instance, had employed people and they were paying them, they were on the payroll of the state, of these institutions. So why send them home? And we came to the defense of these affected Ghanaians. Came for government, delivering services. Why send them home? This is one major. If it happened yesterday, should we continue the vicious cycle and decide never to end it? We are talking about the lives of Ghanaians. Somebody who has been employed. The person takes care of the family, the immediate family, the extended family. Reasons you say, go and sit at home. I've dismissed you. Your employment has been terminated. It doesn't work well for the governance of the country.
Okay.
And this is a matter that we took up on the House floor, and they frustrated it. Bear in mind, the motion for the review of that decision, after moving it and being seconded and being ripe for debate, they found ways of frustrating it all through.
And what are they? So then I'll bring you
the
to
NDC,
your assessment. Okay, and your assessment of the speaker, who...
By way of his performance. I wouldn't want to go into that. What I think is that...
Bad?
Well, if he's protecting his party and his government, from the opposing side, I would not be happy with it. But again, I wouldn't take it personal. He's a politician. Speaker is a politician.
But he's a speaker for both sides of the House.
That is why most of the times we are not happy with some of those decisions. But like I'm saying, it is a reality I have to face. It is a reality I have to face. And then, together with my colleagues, find the available tools to scale that. Because there's no way the Speaker of Parliament, who himself has been in leadership of those turbulent opposition days, when the party wanted a leader after the to gather the pieces, and they eventually came back into office in 2009. So he's a very formidable, astute, shrewd politician, hindered platform opportunity to do our politics.
He's also a politician who's been touted for democracy in the African Parliament on other fronts. He will listen to dissent or diversity, won't he?
What I'm saying is that, look, I want to be a hyper-realist in this very context. I don't want to be seen as a crybaby. Oh, Mr. Speaker, did that? You are crying. No. First of all, do a reality check. He's a senior member of his party. His party has put him where he is, and he would have to politically. The decisions tilt in favor of the NDC, which is his party. I don't begrudge him on, and I wouldn't begrudge him. Issue on the front burner within the rules. You get what I mean? Rather than going crying or always complaining, I would rather use that tool available to find solutions.
How else would you like to see him handle the House?
Oh, under normal circumstances, I expect that, just as our rules provide, that the Speaker must protect the minority. As a minority leader, I expect to have unfettered access on the House floor. I expect my colleagues to have unfettered opportunity to raise all issues and all concerns without being restrained with rules and procedure. That equity must look at substance and not the form. You know, it's what it's there. And then the rule of prudence must always take precedence over rule of procedure. So situations where I am always being confronted with rules. I expect that sometimes
the Pandai MP
sometimes
wasn't allowed.
Sometimes I expect that, look, for the sake of democracy, the rules will be relaxed to allow the minority to have its say. You get my point? But you can't always get what you expect to get. So you manage what you have, and then the little space you get, make the impact.
Okay. I do know that when you have some of these scuffles in Parliament, you go back and you go and speak with the Speaker on both sides. But why does it transcend not building consensus there or having a conversation there, but it escalates into fisticuffs like we see in the chamber?
We are politicians. It is to be expected that sometimes things may get out of hand. But we equally also understand that we must always find our way back to the table and discuss. So these things do happen. But the question is how often do they happen?
At the vetting, tables were broken.
Things happen sometimes in all democracies. And they are not pleasant. But sometimes these things get over the bar. And I don't...
do they bring results, though?
What I'm saying is that I don't celebrate these low moments. No. I mean, nobody expects low moments in public life, but they do happen sometimes. We largely use the rules to do what we're supposed to do.
Okay. What do we expect with the resumption of Parliament? What do we expect to see? More heat?
More heat in the context of scrutiny. Yes, this year. That budget, as I call it, is a chop-chop budget. All right? So we're going to open our eyes to look at all sectors, all agencies. I mean, it is this year, too, that our eagle eyes must watch and look out for all actions of government. And that's exactly what we are going to do.
Okay. I would like us to move to, before the primaries, the MPP, the former environment minister said to have called the MPP a fake party. He said that, you know, the reflection of your deeper internal issues reflects who you are as a party and how leadership will be if you get to govern this country again in 2028, putting it in perspective that we're heading to the primaries tomorrow. What do you have to say about that?
So you want me to respond to everything that is said by all persons? I think that these are matters that the National Party is dealing with, and I would want to rely on more.
Okay. Then let's move to the Pandai and the Supreme Court in that 4-1 majority ruling. Before you even finalize this at the Supreme Court, we saw in Parliament where the MP wanted to come in and then he was prevented, and all of members of your party, I even said, to have questioned the eligibility of the judiciary and finally bring in finality to this matter. But this ruling goes in your favor, there's not going to be that rerun. How do you feel about that?
So let me take the issues one after the other in respect of the conduct of the Tamale High Court judge. What he did was uncalled for, and it was taking the judiciary into a certain arena that no serious Ghanaian would have respected the judiciary. So I see the action of the Supreme Court as a rescue mission action. In some way, they've rescued the judiciary from a crash that one of its own was, bringing it upon the institution. How can a judge make an order, which order is not even founded on the plaintiff's own reliefs he's seeking in court? And to make matters worse, you deliver a judgment and you are now looking for... I would want to urge the judiciary to be a mother for all of us. We are politicians who will come and go. DS is a permanent seat. There's no gain patronizing a politician at the detriment of your own career and your integrity. Sometimes people misconstrue my criticism of my Lord Bafuboni, but it's nothing personal. I know him. He knows I respect him. But I have serious disagreement with my Lord Bafuboni and many of his colleagues at the Supreme Court for the manner they handled their own colleague, Her Ladyship, Justice Araba Isaba Tokonu. I have told my Lord Bafuboni now how Her Ladyship was hounded out of office, which eventually benefited him, was inappropriate. And I won't change from that. We've come under attack. It's not everything that sometimes we go out to say. But there are text messages at the right time. I'll talk about them. There are text messages from wives of some of these judges at the Supreme Court to some of our colleagues, threatening them. There are text messages.
Threatening them.
I am saying so. There are text messages from some of the judges at the Supreme Court to some of our members, insinuating and all. But sometimes this job, you have to take everything. So we manage it. It's part of it. So some of our people are going through prosecution. There are times that I've found my way in the courtroom, and you could see clearly that the judges have either made up their mind on the matter or they are rushing.
How is that legal to make up their mind when
they
still have to be able to go through procedural?
You can see the posture of a judge. I've been a courtroom practitioner, all right? But from day one of my calling, the courts have been my place. I'm not an office lawyer. I'm a courtroom practitioner.
Okay.
And I can read in between the lines, and the judges, you could see clearly that they are rushing the hearing. Some of them you could see clearly by the head. The rule is that if all men find a man's hand in a till, his guilt must be proven. I have gone to one of these hearings and I was not happy with the utterances of the judge. And I just observed and took notes. So I would plead with our judges, especially political cases that come before them. They would have to take it easy and listen to all sides.
These are judges who account to the Ghanaian people in matters that are about, malfeasance of the public funds. You don't think
alleged?
Alleged.
Yes. So what I'm saying is that a man must be heard. A man must be heard. We've not been happy with the PR posture of the AG's office, the Learned Attorney General. We've had cause to say that much as he has a public duty to brief the public on cases that are being handled by his office, there are times that we've felt strongly that he's acted in excess of that duty by going into the merit of the matter. Some of his pronouncement. That's a view we've come to conclude.
And recovering monies, 200 million cedis.
What recoveries?
He's recovered. So Yoko exceeded 200 million cedis target, recovering a record 337.4 million in 2025 from institutions and people.
Well, about that, if they've chalked successes in their work, congratulations.
Okay.
I commend them. I am talking about the political cases. I'm talking about political persecutions. I'm talking about situations where my colleagues in Parliament are being, called to NIB, Yoko, just because they are loud in Parliament.
Okay.
That's the argument here.
Okay.
I'm talking about situations where I feel that certain individuals who are being investigated, are victims of political machinations. So that's my focus. I'm not talking about other duties. I'm not talking about that. Our concern is the extent of media pronouncement.
Okay.
So when you poison the atmosphere, you make it difficult for the man facing prosecution to defend himself, because the public would have already judged him. And you know that the politics doesn't really pay attention to the law and the merit of the matter. The politics bear in mind that one day you will find yourself in opposition. So do unto others as you would wish them do unto you.
I want us, Honourable, to wrap up on the primaries. We have to go.
Sure.
What are we expecting this weekend? Earlier on, I was talking about the mention of the alleged political insults and the heat in the camp of the MPP, and whether the MPP will be a formidable party after this primaries is done and dusted, or people will break away.
Oh, no. Definitely MPP will be a formidable political party. Look at our history. From 92, while we were going through serious elections, the NDC was doing a declaration, and it didn't break the party, and we are where we are. I think what you should also be concerned about is the succession plan in NDC, all right? Definitely President Mahama, by the constitutional injunction, he cannot go again. And he himself has said so, that he's not interested in any third-term agenda and all that. And people are now jostling for positions. The NDC is also going to get very busy. And I can predict, I'm not a prophet though, but I can predict their situation will be worse. If you watch movements, almost everybody wants to have, you have ministers, you have their national chairman
and whoever will come out tops in your primaries will send shivers down the spine of whoever NDC will bring.
Oh, definitely. I mean, we have a duty to rally behind the eventual flag bearer on Saturday.
Okay.
And that is why I say that as an organ of the party, the parliamentary group, we are the only visible organ that does the interface politically.
Right.
So we have a much more profound duty, overbearing responsibility to remain united.
Okay.
86 will initiate the conversation, tie in the vision of the flag bearer and, execute.
Okay.
So, critically, we as a caucus would need that unity to support the flag bearer.
Thank you so much, Honorable. We're grateful that you made the time to talk about 1 year of the minority scrutiny of John Mahama's administration and accounting to the people of Ghana. The Honorable Alexander Afenyo-Markin Osahin is the minority leader in Ghana's 9th Parliament, and he is the MP for the good people of Ifutu. Tomorrow, the primaries will be happening, and he says that at the end, the MPP would come together as the formidable Ghana uses resources to benefit the good people of this country. Thank you so much, Honorable.
Thank you.
For a minute. We know you come again because, yes.
GTV is always a place to be.
Okay, and you'll find a documentary on the minority in Parliament, the caucus and the work they've been doing on our social media handles at GTV. We're back with a lifestyle conversation. Do stay with us.